The aquarium gallery is about to look a whole lot different, but not in the way that you think. It's a lighting situation. A lot of the aquariums in the aquarium gallery don't even have lights on them and or properly lit at all. Some of the lights are dying. You can see it here. Healthy light, dying light, healthy light, healthy, healthy, healthy. Look under this one. This one here is starting to turn yellow, dying. Look back at that one. Not all the lights are coming on anymore, dying. Now here's something you probably didn't think about. At around 44 degrees Celsius, a surface can burn your skin. And I can assure you that your light shouldn't be getting up to 55 degrees Celsius. 54, well 56. 50. This is relatively safe. 56, 48, 49, 47, 49. And a lot of the aquariums don't look that great. Well, ignore the cords because I've been doing a lot of testing. However, this tank here is lit up by shop lights, and you might think, oh, Joey, that looks amazing. And that has a lot to do with the fish look great, and the scape is great. But it's very yellow, very green, very washed out. It's growing the plants, but these are just shop lights lighting it. So the lighting out here in the aquarium gallery in general just kind of sucks. But over the years, we've tried everything from incredibly high-end lights to cheap Amazon lights to do-it-yourself lights, shop lights, you name it. That's the whole purpose of the aquarium gallery, is to try a lot of new things. Imagine if I only kept each tank running for about a year. So imagine this. Tank 1, all the tanks are set up for about a year, then I start on tank 1, right? I switch all that out a month later, I switch another one out a month later, I switch another one out. But again, a lot of my lights are dying, a lot of them are overpowered but not putting off a ton of power. Some just grow algae. All my tanks look kind of different and not in a good way. And so for months I've been thinking about replacing some of them or all of them. I want my tanks to look good. I want my fish colors to pop. I want my plants to grow. I want to stop using the sheer volume of electricity that I am to accomplish mediocre. So technically nobody knew the situation that I was in or that I was about to do something like this. I just didn't know when I was going to do it. Coincidentally, the company Finnex reached out to me wanting to send me a light, claiming that the guy that reached out, his name was Brian, and he made a claim to me saying, this is the first product that I've led on, and it's going to grow your plants and make the colors pop on your plants and your fish. It would look incredible. Put them on your flower horn tank, your discus, whatever you want to do. I'd really love to see get your opinion on this. Now, obviously, I was intrigued, as you would be. A company wants to give you a free light just to test and try out. Meanwhile, you need new lights. However, what really kind of pushed me over the edge to accept it was Brian's been trying to get me a Finnex light for over 10 years. Apparently, him and his employees are fans of the channel. I did feel the pressure of that, and that's why I accepted it, but I also said, don't expect anything of this. He said, I don't care. I just want to know your thoughts. It would mean the world for me if you liked it, but if you don't, sell it, throw it out, sword fight with it, whatever you want to do. I also want to clarify two more things before we move any further with this video. First and foremost, this is not an unboxing video. Originally, I did film an unboxing, and once I got to tinkering around and testing and doing my measuring of wattages and powers and colors and seeing what it would look like, and then the discoveries that I made were relatively shocking to me, I decided, no, we're not doing an unboxing. The second thing I want to talk about is, yes, I got the light for free. I don't think Finnex would have sent it to me had they known I was going to make this video or I was going to talk about the things that I'm going to talk about. You see, when it comes to the aquarium hobby, a lot of companies within our industry, when it comes to their marketing, a lot of it is misleading, confusing, or simply just inaccurate. And I want to state right from the jump, Finnex is guilty of two of those. And I'm going to explain why in this video. So what did he send me? The Vivid Plus 3.0. This light right here. But here's the problem. After I did my testing, I tested wattage, I tested the PAR. If you're not sure what PAR is, PAR stands for photosynthetically active radiation, which is the range of light wavelengths that plants need for photosynthesis. Specifically between the range of 400 to 700 nanometer. Like these little graphs here with that colors of going up and down all over the place, that's the wavelengths. And and plants need specific ones to actually photosynthesize. So I test the light out. I discover things aren't as they seemed at first. And I thought, well, I think it, regardless of what I found out about it, which we'll get to in a second, I did think that it looked better than the existing lights. And to be honest with you, I just tested it on my shrimp tank. Look how much shrimp is in there. This thing here is my parameter to measure light and whatnot, but check out the pile of shrimp. That's a lot. Every time I drop in a few of these things, calcium protein shrimp things from Cats Aquatics, they go crazy. I tested it on this tank because it's got a nice color contrast of the white substrate, lush green moss, and different colors of shrimp, blues and reds and yellows. We even have some snowballs in there. Ooh, and some reds. But I thought I was biased, thinking the Vivid looks better than the existing lights. These are the existing lights that are on it and still on it. And I was biased simply because Brian runs Finnex out of Chicago, Illinois, and there's only like 4 employees. You know, I just wanted the little guy to win. And I thought I'll take my biases and just not tell anybody that there's a new light on this tank. I'm going to take a picture of the existing tank with the existing light and then replace it with the Vivid, take a picture. Don't mess with the ISO, the color balance, the shutter speed, identical, and then crop the lights out and put them on Instagram and let you guys vote. Which one do you think looks better? Top one or bottom one? 70% of you voted for the bottom one, which I was not expecting, and it definitely cleared my conscience because the bottom one was the Finnex light. And your guys' voting is what changed my mind about everything. And I was intrigued. I asked Brian, I said, can you send me a few more outside of just one light? I wouldn't mind a few more samples of like some of your popular lights just to kind of compare them and get a better idea of your lights so I can, you know, I might get some more or something like that, but I want to know what else you got. So he sent me a few more. Stingray 3.0, the Planted Plus 3.0, and the 24/7 Planted Plus HLC. These are all 4-foot long lights. And then before I got to testing, I asked you guys again, because now I feel like you guys are involved and you guys are the reason and the why I'm doing all this now. I asked you here on YouTube, what's your average size tank height? Because I have tanks 12 inches all the way up to 48 inches, but what's your average tank height? And the number one response was like 18 inches and then 24 inches was next. So I thought if we're gonna test on that same tank where we did the pictures because I can elevate the lights to 18 inches tall. And technically that's where the lights are right now. If they're 18 inches, well damn, 19 inches, wait a minute. Yeah, about 18 and a half, 19 inches. But we're not gonna be using these anymore. Thank God. I think I'm gonna have to let these, yep, I'm gonna let them cool down a sec. Well, I can just yank them by their cords, I guess. So this is the light he originally wanted me to check out. It's their Vivid Plus, designed to give you great power readings and make your colors pop and whatnot. It has 3 modes. One is Dutch mode, which is this is what it's on right now. Largely meant for planted tanks. I don't have it positioned to make the tank look the best right now. I have it positioned to not knock into the power meters bar because the cords are all like almost touching over here. So I got to kind of be careful where I put it. But on Dutch mode, I'm getting a power of 95. Wattage, I'm getting 57.7, 58. Now 58 is on par with the advertising, but I'm only supposed to be getting 60 power. I'm getting 95. The next is Color Max. Now this is advertised to give me a power of 45 using the same amount of wattage. I'm not using a lot of watts. I'm using 40 watts of power here. And the power is 64. So I'm thinking I'll try the dimmer. No, I got it turned up all the way. Man, that does look good. Now I can actually see the colors of the shrimp better. Okay, and then the next one is their Zen mode. Ooh, I like that too. That's supposed to give me a power of 36 using 58 watts as well. Again, I'm getting 44 watts, 45 watts. Not using as much wattage as possible, but the power is at 73. Let's move on to the next light. The next light we're going to do is the Planted Plus 3.0. This one is pretty crazy. Immediately, turn that back on. A power of 105 using 54 watts. I should be getting, they're advertised is 90 power and 58 watts. So the watts is pretty spot on, but that power is way off. Their next one I'm going to use is like the Stingray. It's like their baby, well, like least powerful, I guess you'd call it. Okay, watts. Damn. 34 watts. Did I knock that? Did knock it a little bit. 37 watts, a power of 58. Their advertised is 58 watts, or sorry, their advertised is 36 watts and a power of 58. Man, that one's spot on. Now the now the 24/7 Planted Plus. Oh damn, that's bright. But we're only using around 40 watts, 41 watts. However, the power is at about 56. Very interesting, because that one seems really bright. That looks good too. That looks really good. But they advertise this at 38 watts, so the wattage is pretty close, but I couldn't find a power reading for this. The tank I was dying to try this on was the Piranha aquarium. However, on it right now are pendant lights, and when you use pendant lights, you get a lot of light spillage. So I wanted to not only check the wattage as well as the power, but to see which one actually looks better, I took a video cropping the tanks out, and I gotta say, it does look like the LED light strips were far more vibrant and a lot more contrast. Not to mention, we're using 180 watts total for these three pendant lights. The lights would cost $348, and we're getting a power of about 30. I didn't have two of the same lights, so I used the Vivid and the Planted Plus. Total watts of about 114 watts, but I got a power of 70, more than double the power, and only costing $275. Now, what is this big thing with power? Ideally, you're looking for a power, in my experience, if you want your plants to grow like mine, without the need of CO2 or anything like that, I look for a power of 50. If I go above 50, I'm going to have to start thinking about injecting CO2 into the aquariums. So I guess the bottom line is this: these lights would work on your 18-inch to 24-inch tall tanks as well, but you might have to look into dimming them because they're pretty darn powerful. However, at the beginning of this video, I did mention that some companies' marketing is misleading, inaccurate, or simply confusing, and I said that Finnex was guilty of two of those. The two that they're guilty of is their readings are inaccurate. The wattages are fine, but I asked Brian, I was like, why is your power so far off from what you're advertising it as? He said, simply, I want people to get exactly what they're paying for. So we know that the power that we advertise is a little lower than what you'll actually get, but not by much. And that was the inaccurate part, but it's like a good inaccuracy. The other thing was, they're confusing. Their lights are confusing, and their website was confusing. Like, why do you have so many different lights? Like what is the point? What do they all do? And that's something I want to talk about now because I've never seen it before. So let's start off with the Vivid Plus 3.0. $150 light made of aluminum. I've tried this out for, I think it's been a week now. I left all of these lights on for 24 hours and I couldn't get the temperature to go over 30, but that's probably based on the aluminum housing. Great construction, little sliding things come out the sides here. But why buy this light over the rest? And a lot of it comes down to this controller that's built in. And I'm not saying buy this over the rest. I'm just going to show you a few things. So this is the controller. We have the dimming function, and then we have those 3 settings. The 4th setting, technically, is moonlights. I don't use moonlights, but you might like them. But the first one is Dutch mode. That's actually one of my favorites for planted tanks, but I'm really excited to try out the second one, which is the Color Max, and then Zen just makes the tank look really crispy. It's definitely used for really in-depth aquascapes. This is like a really cool part as well. You can put on a 24-hour cycle, a timer, and this whole thing remembers what you're doing, whether you have a power outage or not. It'll pick up where you left off. Plus, you can shut it off temporarily if you just want to show your tank off and the lights aren't even on, and that was important to me. But for me, I just set my tanks and forget them. My plants will grow, the colors are going to pop, my fish are going to look amazing. But in order to like justify the 150 bucks, we've got to go to the Planted Plus 3.0 next. This is a $125 light. Why spend $150 when you can just pay $125 and get far more power and grow your plants? Well, it has a similar remote. You know, at the top, your dimming feature, 6 steps from the, like, I think it's like, it starts at 1%, 10%, all the way up to 100%. Then you have daytime and moonlight, and then your timer, and then on and off, and that's it. So 1 color setting, but the spectrum is specific for planted tanks. It's similar to that Dutch mode that I liked on planted tanks, so they look almost identical to me. The extra 25 bucks is you're getting a different type of LEDs in here, a lot more reds. And this is designed to make the colors actually pop. While being good for plants, it's mostly focused on making things look really, really good. But why buy the Planted Plus when you can just get the Stingray? Stingray is only 100 bucks. What's different about it from the Planted? Nothing. Identical remote. And the thing about this and being $100 versus paying $125 for this one, there's nothing different in the wavelengths of color. These are identical lights. One is just more powerful than the other. You'll get more power out of this one out of the Planted Plus than you will out of the Stingray. That's literally the only difference. However, the Stingray, as you've seen, is going to grow your plants in definitely 18-inch tanks, probably upwards of 24 inches, depending on the plants that you're going to keep. Finnex told me, like, this is for low light plants, and I was like, yeah, right, it would grow everything out here so long as I'm getting a 50 power, which I'm getting far more out of. So this one was arguably the most impressive because it's only 100 bucks for the 4-foot long version. I don't know what the shorter ones cost. I didn't look, but for a 4-foot LED strip light, that's pretty incredible. Now, what about the most expensive one? The 24/7 Planted Plus HLC. This one here. Well, I don't even know if it'll focus on me. It's so damn thin. Or don't look at me. Look how thin this thing is. This is the sexiest light of them all, but it's not for me. It's too fancy and it does too much, and it's $170. It's $20 more than the Vivid, but there's reasons for it. The controller's not built into the wires, by the way, and the sliders are a lot different. There's these clear plastic ones. This is for your house. This is for if you only got a few tanks and you want your tank to look, not only look sexy, grow plants, but you want the light to look sexy. Until I got into the reason why I wouldn't want this light. It does too much. It comes with a remote where we can set so many different hours and functions, come on, come off, 24/7 mode. We can have it a cloudy day, thunderstorm, sun, moon, adjust all the colors. It's just too much for me. The most I would want is the options out of this Vivid here. And even then, only having these 3 or 4 options of changing the color is perfect, because whether I want to see the scape better, I want to grow the plants better, or I want my fish to look better, everything, all the colors pop, but I can kind of like fine tune it to which tank it's on without getting too confused, because I got to tell you, after being in the hobby for as long as I have, and you guys know that I've had some of the most advanced lights in the aquarium hobby, from Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, you name it. All of that's cool until you set it. And then it's like, well, do I really need that technology? And then they're cumbersome to change. I want an on and off button. Great, thanks for building the timer in. That saves me 10, 15 bucks, but I want to put it on a timer, and I want it to come on and go off when I tell it to, and that's it. And I want it to look really, really good. But that's the other thing where I said that they're a little bit confusing. It's just like a lot of lights, but each light does something so different than the other. Some are almost identical, but if you want to spend a little less, you're going to get a little less power, but the wavelengths are identical. I found all of this incredibly interesting when I got my hands on them, and that's why I wanted to make this video, is to kind of explain this thing to you guys as well, because these are incredibly affordable lights. So it's kind of like I'm doing something for you guys, and it's benefiting you guys by getting information that will make you be able to make the right purchases and the right choices for lights moving forward. But it also benefits me because my tanks are going to look really good moving forward. Now, just in closing, I got all of these lights for free. Finnex doesn't know what I'm saying on this video or what I'm going to say or anything like that. In fact, you've seen it. They didn't even expect a video. And they certainly aren't paying me to say anything. But moving forward, Finnex, expect an invoice.